Hello and welcome to the War Report. I'm your host, Cyrus, joined by Dominic Griffin and OG Johnny 5.
Hey,
Yo,
We all had to come together for Dynamite 250, probably one of the greatest Dynamite episodes in a really long time. How you guys doing?
yeah, got to get that out the way first. You know what I mean? You know what's funny? I was actually watching Thunder Rosa's taco vlog with Stephanie Vaquer because that's my new, that's my new life.
That is very funny that exists. Hold on. Thunder Rosa Taco Blog, bruh.
Yeah, taco vlog, baby. You know what it is.
She wants out of AEW. So, dog, this shit is 40 minutes long. How long are they eating tacos for, bruh?
Watch the whole thing. Listen, if you fucking think I didn't watch that whole thing with a smile on my fucking face, you're bugging. I did.
Cheese in ear to ear.
is this recent?
Yeah, it's like a day ago, I think.
Okay, yeah,
No.
because I just saw Vacker. I saw Thunder Rosa on Busted Open Radio, and what's his name, LaGreca and Namath were like asking her about the Vacker stuff, and she was just like, I didn't know, I had no idea. Like, I don't know if they just assumed they were all friends or something because like they're all Mexican, but she was like, I have no clue, and then she talked about it for 20 minutes with like no actual insight. So I'm sure she was texting her on the air, like, yo.
Oh, what can I say?
Exactly.
I think that I think it's funny that she says like she doesn't know, but like Conan, which we're gonna talk about when we get into the churches, but Conan was just like, man, she asked the Mexicans, oh, what's the word? And the Mexicans said it's kind of whack over here. But then she asked the Mexicans over at WWE and it all worked out. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm pretty sure she asked Thunder Rosa something, and Thunder Rosa was just like, hey man, this shit whack, son. You got me like I said it on Twitter. When somebody when I was talking about like the free agency like cycle, like there's a free agent, people fear monger about them going to WWE, they go to AEW, they have a good month, then nothing.
hmm and we'll get to it on this show, right? Like today,
Yeah.
the difference between how the women are presented on NXT, of course, and the way that they presented their new signees, and how AEW kind of rushed through literally everything that had to do with the women.
They do it every single time. Um, right. Let's get into the let's get into the trenches here. No banter this time around. All right, so we already talked about Conan talking a lot about Stephanie Vaquer and how a lot of that transpired. Um, he says that the call from HBK kind of like saved the whole thing. Um, I think that's hilarious because HBK just calls and he'd be like, "All right, this is what we about to do."
Yeah, but I think I think again, like there's that reverence there, right? It's like she was such a big fan of Ray. Why wouldn't she be such a big fan of HBK, who was also active around the time that she was trying to get into the shows, And
Hmm.
I think that it's almost like when you're trying to court a new NBA free agent and you have somebody come through. And I'm only saying this because I saw that embarrassing Lil Dicky Philadelphia 76ers thing for Paul George. Did y'all see that earlier today?
No.
No.
Uh they had Little Dicky out there and they made a whole video and a whole like rigmarole around it. But it's like, you need to kind of treat these free agents as if they're important. And I think that
Mhm.
if NXT and by proxy WWE is focusing a lot on their Latino and Latinas and they're focusing on like a more global effort. You got, if Triple H or anyone says you need to go on the phone and call this woman, he's gonna do it. And I think it meant a lot to her. Like,
Mhm.
still very young. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she's young as hell. Like that probably meant more to her than fucking Tony saying it'll be great and we'll have you come in and you'll face Britt and then you'll face Mercedes and then it'll be great and that'll be great and then you'll face Athena and then that'll be great and they'll be like, wait, what, Athena? When am I going to ROH? You know what I mean? Like there's no there's no I think she saw all she needed to see. You know what I'm saying? I think that,
Mhm.
and I mentioned this earlier this week. I don't think it's a bad thing that she got signed based off of what she did on Forbidden Door. That's how this shit works. That's how it's supposed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm
why wouldn't she?
what do you think talent scouts get paid for?
Exactly. Like, you think they're not watching? Come on, man.
Well, I guess also, how is that any different than AEW plucking people from stuff they've seen?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, what does it matter? Like, I don't like how everyone sort of pretends like the AEW cinematic universe just incorporates all of wrestling, like it's automatically under their umbrella.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that if WWE is also paying attention to these things, it's like no, they're doing it through them, and it's like who gives a shit? I mean, like it's the energy is not being kept the same from earlier in the year when everyone was taking their agent victory lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you only wanted like what do you why do you think they want Ricochet or they wanted Ricochet? You know what I'm saying? Like they that was obviously a reason that they got him is because they saw what he could do. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think with Bakur, like this has just been like such a whirlwind kind of thing. And I also kind of know that it's going to be a while for we see her because I think she's going to be part of that new class. So they want to get her in the t-shirt and they're going to take all the pictures
Hmm.
shit like that. So it'll probably be September before we really kind of see her. But I would say out of all of them, like injuries to Julia notwithstanding, it seems to me like she's like the most ready to go. She's already been working with their talent and
Hmm.
she seems to be getting high marks across the board.
Yeah, they had her working instantly. As soon as they signed, they said, "Hey, we already know you down the street. Just come on through." Uh, so I thought that was really great. Like I see big things for her. I'm honestly curious to see what the rest of that like class is going to look like. With like the D1 D2 athletes that come around and shit like that.
I don't like that conversation either. I saw a tweet about like, oh, they're gonna have Ethan Page wrestling a D1 shot putter and shit like that. And it's like,
Like, yeah, that's they athletic.
I'm like, is that a bad thing? I'm like, do you think that they don't give each other respect? Do you think there's not respect there? Do you think it's bad to have a job? Like, I don't understand what that what's bad about that. I think that there was a lot of also like really nasty stuff being thrown around Stephanie, the stuff with her likes and the stuff that the kinds of things that she was liking. Obviously, that's her prerogative as
They had nothing bad to say about Vacker, like literally like minutes prior to the deal being done. So they're resorting to, oh, she liked porn on Twitter. And it's just like, okay.
yeah, her liking BBCs is not, you know what I mean?
That's her business. If I check y'all bookmarks, bruh, y'all not safe either, bro. I thought that was a really weird conversation, and somebody was just like, but it's the type that she likes, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah,
that's her business. Like
It,
people that go through likes are weird.
it was grasping at straws for real. Like it was just um there was nothing else they could really throw at her. Like because they'd spent
Hmm.
weeks, hyping up her being at Forbidden Door and how big a deal it was, and then it was just like, oh shit.
yeah, it was some
What's
type
bad
of it was a foregone conclusion, I think, that she was gonna go to WWE, and when it didn't happen, it became
at Forbidden Door?
like a good thing I always think about when it comes to things like this is there was an old David Cross comedy special, and I am severely, and Dom knows this, I'm severely aging myself here. There was a David Cross. Of course, he was from Mr. Show. He did stuff with Bob Odenkirk, and he talked about those old televangelists who back in 1999, 1998 were talking about like Y2K and it was going to be the end, and how after nothing happened, they went on air and was like, oh well, my daughter got a little bit of peanut butter on the book, and it wasn't actually 2000, it was 2010 or so, you know what I'm saying? Like this,
Buy
like
themselves 10 more years, yeah.
exactly, like they push it back every single time. You know what I mean? They push the goalpost back every time. Now she is not the great that everyone said that she was. She is unprofessional and she is not, you know what I'm saying, for workers' rights. And she's going to WWE, she's gonna be wasted. And I'm just like, for all that I've seen, Michael Cole has mentioned this young lady's name. They've mentioned her on NXT this week. They mentioned her on the socials. I think that people just need to kind of like give it up at this point and just admit
Yeah,
loss at this point.
and it doesn't really need to be a loss. Like they made like the free agent like thing a win and a lose thing. It could have just been, oh damn, she went there.
Yeah, I mean, this is remember they consider the AEW Women's Division the best of all time. They got Sasha Mercedes. So, what's a loss? You know what I'm saying? Like, what they got all they need.
Yeah.
We saw Sasha
So,
work tonight on Dynamite. They got all they need.
but her not signing is the worst thing to happen. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. But we're gonna move on to the next point. Um,
Well, before we do, like, what are you guys' like ceiling for Stephanie? Like, what do you guys think she's gonna do? What do you think she's gonna do there?
I mean, I
I
think
think.
she has a lot of potential. I mean, like I think maybe the only bottle for her would be like I don't know how fluent she is in English or how fast she'll learn and stuff like that. Like that side of it, I guess would be like a factor. But I think that coming from Lucha, like being someone who actually grew up liking WWE, I think that there might not be as steep a learning curve for her as some of the other people they get from the indies or abroad. Because I'm sure like knows the product and like knows what is expected and kind of knows how to like fit the world, you know?
Mhm. I think like the sky is the limit. Um, like I definitely think she is somebody that can carry NXT once a lot of people are like gone. Once I like that bottleneck is like finished. Coming in, she could be doing amazing stuff with like Tatum, Soruka, Kalani, all sorts. And then honestly, if she does really well, she might not even be in NXT long.
Right. Yeah, I thought
True,
about that.
yeah.
I think Julia will for sure be there for a while.
Hmm.
I think Vacker. I'm gonna be real.
She teaming with Zelina.
I don't think she's making NXT money, and that's the reason why I don't think she's gonna be there that long. They usually don't
Hmm.
keep people there that aren't making NXT money. That's why it's the same reason that I'll kind of say what I was gonna say about him in the show later, but I don't think Ethan Page is very long for NXT as well. It seems to me like he's
Hmm.
gonna have a Drew McIntyre run out there.
That would be very interesting. NXT is also doing this, like, I wouldn't say it's a weird thing, but like Trick isn't immediately going back for it. He seems to like, I guess he's like defeated and he's trying to like gain inspiration to go back at it. So I think that is just gonna like just add a couple more days to Ethan Page's run. But yeah, Stephanie doesn't even need to be there long. She was, and she's already working. She already worked with a main roster talent. Like she can easily just go back to that or go back to that quickly.
Yeah.
Um, so just a little tidbit, just a footnote into the whole thing I thought was really funny. Is Vacker having a very similar situation to Punk at Wembley, where they show up to wherever the hell Forbidden Door was, and nobody was there to pick them up.
Yeah. And according
Well,
to on the Keep It
yeah.
100 show, like that was one of the tipping points for her, and that was one of the
Mhm.
just like this type of
The
stuff is
little things.
yeah, it's like the little stuff. This type of stuff is either covered or you have a squad with you that make sure that you're good, and it cannot be understated whatever treatment that the people get in WWE or in NXT is very different. You know what I'm saying? Like they're teaching you how to work and do things out there. Like I fully expect that when she gets here, I'm pretty sure she hasn't moved here yet, but I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
she gets here, like they're gonna be getting her driver's license. They're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna be doing all those things. Because
Yeah.
we saw Saray do it. You know what I'm saying? We saw EO and all of them do that shit. You know what I mean? They're gonna have like the full experience, and it is very different than what she probably would have experienced or what we've seen like people like Hikaru Shida talk about when she moved here to work for AEW. She said it was lonely. You know what I mean? There were
Hmm.
many like-minded people there, and I fully expect that they're gonna give Stephanie and Julia when she's ready the red carpet treatment when she gets out here.
Yeah. Um, Also, I don't know how you let that like happen like twice. Honestly,
The way that I looked at that, I was like, this happens far more often than
yeah.
we think.
Yeah, like this is like very, very normal. Um, and what is it? Like not too long ago, there was like an expense report showing how much like AEW like spends on like pay-per-view, travel, all that sort of thing.
For
And
Double
it's
or
just like,
Nothing, yeah. For Double or Nothing
yeah,
Collision.
yeah. And I'm just like, how does not making sure that she can call an Uber like in those plans?
Especially for a talent that you're flying out as a special guest for your show, and she's not actually signed there. Like she
Yeah.
literally special talent from.
Every time we hear one of these stories, though, it never sounds like it's like cost cutting. It always just sounds like disorganization.
Yeah,
Hmm.
It doesn't sound like, oh, they're not going to spend the money. They blow money on whatever. It's just like when the boys, like Dalton Castle's boys, or whatever, when they were like sharing like their text screenshots about why they got let go and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Like, who cares, who was right or wrong or whatever. But reading through that, it was like this does not feel like the correspondence between like a talent and like a major company. This feels like like a shift lead at Foot Locker talking to someone like a seasonal hire. It seems very just messy and weird. And it's like this is how they handle travel for people. I mean, maybe this is how they handle it for the boys because they're like nobodies, but the vibe is like I think that's how they handle everything. And a lot of the people that work there just don't know any better or haven't worked someplace where that would be noticeably a bad thing.
yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And imagine that experience, but with someone who doesn't speak the native language here. You know what I mean? Like, imagine
Hmm.
how frustrating that might be. So she probably had to. Maybe she did text Thunder Rosa. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like I think that there are so many things that led to the tipping point, but I think that again, it was a masterful work by WWE. Like they got her quick. They got her to quit. They got her to drop all of her titles within a moment's notice, and they had her on basically on TV on their socials within days. That is masterful work. We've not, and like I said on the A show, it just this one feels different, and this one actually feels like a actual response to AEW. This one feels like it's actually them talking directly to Tony and his crew.
Hmm. And honestly, they didn't even let the rumors linger. They got rid of that shit like fast. It was just like just
Sean
HBK tweet at
never,
like 4 p.m. How the
yes,
fuck?
Sean
it was like
literally
a 4 hour lock in.
Sean tweeted. He never tweets for new signees ever. Not even Julia.
Like they talked all the all the reporters are like speculated all that stuff, and HBK said y'all not making no money off this. We did
We did it.
it. Y'all not gonna put this behind no paywall. We did it.
But I am really excited for at least at the very least your sanity, Cyrus, for the NXT women's division that you're actually it's already good, but it's gonna get better in the next
Yeah.
couple of months.
You know, I said it last week. Everything's good until we have to start watching Wednesdays, Like I'll be on the mental high, and then like 8 o'clock 2 p.m. On a 8 o'clock p.m. On a Wednesday or whatever. It just go
I will say that the only one half of Dynamite broke me. The rest was just routine Dynamite. So I will say that this week.
Yeah, it is something. And then just a quick note here. I had it as AEW is planning on running a show in the Dallas Stadium. And then Tony Khan was just like, no, 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 we're not doing that. Probably the smartest thing he has done in a very long time, not trying to run a stadium show in the United States. Um, this was going to be a whole segment just being it's going to be a quiz game, which what Tony Khan think is great. Tony Khan also says that AEW 2024 is going to be AEW's best year. We are in July. How do you feel about this year currently?
I can remember last year that Post Wrestling put out an article saying this was the summer of Khan. We saw how that ended. So
Yeah.
I think it's best that they stop self-aggrandizing themselves in such a way because it never ends up going the way that they hope that it will. I think that if you're talking about match quality, I'm sure for a certain segment of these fans, it probably is. But I ask you, wasn't last year too? Do you remember what
Mhm.
your favorite match was from last year in 2022 and 21? Who knows? I think in terms of best, you look at those. We saw that arena tonight. We saw what it looked like.
And they had the audacity to brawl up there.
They served them. They served them one of the biggest matches they could do tonight, and they didn't save it. And they did it for Little Rock, Arkansas. I say fucking more.
Dom.
I think about the fact that Conan on the Keep It 100 podcast even brought up the fact that like even among their sycophants, you're starting to see breaking in the ranks. Like Alvarez, when he is alone with Sempervive and there's no Meltzer around to interrupt him, is pointing this stuff out too. And this is a guy who's, been on the job for 5 years now, half a decade. You know, it doesn't matter how good the in-ring is. Like there is no better metric for like fan interest in a wrestling product than live ticket sales. Like there is anything else you bring up, social media, whatever, it's like straight up, do people want to spend money to go see this in person?
Right.
If they don't, then why not? Like you have to ask these questions and they're not doing it. You know what I mean? Like keep I mean, I don't know how you can keep doing it, but you can keep pulling out, quote unquote dream matches and well, this match is really great or this match is really great. And it's like, okay, and like I don't know how else to say it. Like, and like what do you want me to say? Um, it's not. I don't see the rest of the year improve. I feel like in the past, during the history of the company, there's been moments where things are not looking great, but there's a list of things that like could happen that hadn't happened yet.
Right.
There's a period where it was like, what if they get Ospreay? What if they get Okada? What if they get Mercedes? Like there were all these things happening, kind of like, oh, but this could happen. So who knows? The sky's the limit. But there's not anything left in that bag. Like Ricochet showing up is not going to change anything. There's no more portals to open. There's no more like firsts to do, really. I mean, like after Wembley, I don't know where else you do like a big, you know, uh, big event that like because like here's the thing when everyone started talking about that stadium deal and they're like that won't work and Sean Ross Sapp was like don't delete this tweet or whatever like he was going to come back and prove somebody wrong the AEW audience has done this sort of like gamble thing a handful of times like the original All In like oh you guys won't sell 10,000 oh you won't sell Wembley but like I think even that's starting to have diminishing returns because we used to have a period where when the ratings would suck, there would just be a random week of like it rallying. Like everyone on Twitter would get together and be like, everyone's making fun of us. We all got to watch the show this week or something, you know? That's not even happening anymore. So I don't know what other things they can do off the strength of just belief alone. You know what I mean? Like the loyalty alone is not enough anymore. They have to do something to entice these people or entice new people, which they don't, they're not particularly interested in doing.
Yeah, I mean they shot one of the bullets out of the clip tonight. I guess you got Kenny MJF is one of them. I would imagine is still left.
No, they did that on a
Mhm.
collision already, didn't they?
Oh
They
shit,
they
they did.
they did that already.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Kenny
I think this was the
Omega.
last bullet. I think I'm not. I was trying to while we were watching the show,
Hold
I
on,
was trying to think.
I just want to remind y'all, Kenny. This is the time where MJF had his belt stolen by
Oh,
Jay
by
White,
Jay
and
White.
then
I
Kenny
Yes.
forgot that's what was
Omega,
going on.
and then Kenny Omega came to challenge him, and he didn't have a belt to like put in his face to show that he was the best.
Dog, how did I forget that?
He he didn't even have the ROH belts to like flash in his face.
There's not. I don't think. You know, I don't think there's anybody who's been like kept apart or protected that they're holding off on. I think every wad has been shot. I can't think of a single
Every
money
match has
match
been
left.
everything has been done. The only thing is to do is to rehash something that we've already seen, and it's gonna be Ospreay Ricochet. That's like their last thing, and I would say that is a hollow tip, if anything.
Yeah,
Well, hollow
that's
tips
a
was great.
flare.
Yeah, so hollow tip is good, sorry. So that like you want to do a blank is probably what you was thinking.
I was
Hollow,
thinking of something more heavy duty, but y'all got it.
hollow tip will explode your shit. Yeah, you look like a Mortal Kombat X-ray, nigga. Like that's a blank. Man.
um, Flair is hilarious, but yeah, man, I don't know what else they could possibly do. Like, I think they ran everything at this point. I'm pretty sure we already seen Danielson versus Ricochet before.
No, we haven't.
Pe we haven't. So there you go.
That's not
Hangman Ricochet.
that's not a bullet. Like none of these are bullets.
Hey,
That's a
not
collision. That is a collision
to not
opener
not
after
to
a
us,
sporting event.
not to us. That is a rocket launcher to some nerd out there. what is it? Hangman Ricochet, Ricochet Swerve. Like just a gauntlet for Ricochet, which he will probably run through pretty quick, like in his first like probably 3 months of him being there. And then we go back to nothing.
I think the thing I feel bad about with this particular era of AEW, maybe feeling bad isn't the right word for it, is there is a segment of people for whom like they're being served so well. Like there's a small segment of people who they're not, I don't think they're faking it or like whatever. I think they genuinely love this shit. This is exactly what they want. But there's like 120,000 of them tops. Um, and that's not that doesn't work. Like you can like you can continue to make that very small base happy, and those people will continue to emphatically, call Tony one of us, one of the sickos. Oh my God, he did this, he did that. But it's like, who else is coming to that party? You know what I mean? Who else is coming through? It's not working. It's not connecting to people. And every time they've even I remember distinctly like when they first started, there was a period where I don't remember when we had this conversation, but I remember Justin was pointing out how like their audience is so anti WWE and is so like ravenous towards anything that even seems like WWE that all of the things Tony would have to do to engage a new audience would turn off the base.
It's
And
happening.
we've seen it happen so many times since then. Like it's like all the MJF stuff, the Satnam Singh debut. Like every time they've done anything that's like what you would need to do to appeal to just anyone other than that 125,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
the base just eats it alive. So it's like it's like they can't even move beyond it.
Yeah, the only thing that will suffice for these people at this point is more spectacles like we saw in the first hour of Dynamite. And I think when it's anything else, they just tune out. I think they don't want to see it. But the thing is, when we look at the quarter hours for the show, people tune in. They like the Jericho shit. There was actually not a lot of. I don't foresee that quarter hour with Jericho doing very well because he wasn't out there for 10 minutes. It was like five. You know what I mean? Like they rushed through that segment, but I'm like, this is like the most popular thing on your show week to week, not MJF. So I shudder to think what this number is going to look like this week.
It's really an anomaly, the way that their numbers work. I don't know what else was on TV. Um,
The RNC is out. The RNC is happening right now.
mm,
Mm-hmm. And Biden got sick. So like those are like the top two things out right now. They're
just getting
fucked. They
just
are
getting
fucked.
railed by the election.
Yes, they're fucked come election time because the big election shit never happens on Mondays. It always happens in the middle of the week. They're fucked.
Mm.
And not for nothing, but the election is actually being booked a lot stronger than this show. Like
Bro, it's so many twists and turns. I'm like, God damn, bro.
like I know we were subjected to a lot of like really like weak, Vince McMahon this type memes for the last week and stuff, but like moment to moment, everything that's happened with the election is pretty like I don't subscribe to the Illuminati, this is all pre-written necessarily, but like the way it is unfolding is 100% better than any angle that's happening on AEW right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's sick
Yeah.
now, and he's gonna come back, and it's like they're gonna be like, he's okay. He survived COVID. It's crazy, bro. And these motherfuckers are gonna be out on top of fucking planes like Tom Cruise hanging off of them just to show niggas they're capable of doing this. And no one for on either end seems very convinced right now. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into this first hour of Dynamite. We got MJF defeating William Ospreay for this is the Intercontinental belt.
It's the
International.
it's international.
International, sorry. Yeah, man. This match stinks. I think that
Okay. Let's.
I mean, what is there? What's the preamble before this? Like the best stinks.
Let's walk through this. Let's unpack this together, if we will. Okay.
Okay.
I will say this: the match was really good. The match was really good to me. I think what stinks is the multiple. I think what dragged it down for me was the multiple instances where you noticed and you saw that this was a TV show match. The frequent stalling, the needless spots, all of that stuff, it was very overbooked to a point where it was like, okay, this is way too much and they need to tone it down a bit. I thought that the first half of this match, and I'm talking like the first 20 to 25 minutes, was actually very solid. I think once they started going out of the ring, that's when they started to lose me. I think
When
there's
they
a
started replaying that first 20 minutes over and over.
yes. I think that there was, and I wrote it down. I was like, okay, well, Ospreay hurt his shoulder, then he hurt his leg, but his ribs were hurt, but he was still clutching his knee. Like he had all of this stuff, and there was a story that was going through this match. There was a through line here of him having had so many matches. But you know why that doesn't work? When they talk about the 25 matches he's had in 2020,
It was never emphasized on matches prior.
one and two, it wasn't like he was having these matches back to back to back. It was like he was having these match, like he didn't even have a match last week. So like it's honestly, it wasn't like he was running some Iron Man crusade. He was just having matches, which I've said before, he can't he's being overexposed by having all these matches, but now it's a bad thing for them to talk about, and they don't bring up the match stuff until like 40 minutes into the show. And I was like, well, what really is the psychology here? You have MJF, who just a couple of weeks ago said, I don't flip. I don't do flippy shit. And he's doing flippy shit here. And it's like, I'm like, what? I'm wondering who's the flippy guy and who's the heavyweight here. I just, there were so many things confusing here.
MJF is the smart wrestler here, as they do extremely dumb things and completely ignore psychology, selling, none of that jazz. And yeah, the parts of the TV where like it is a TV match where, you know, don't do picture in picture if these guys are just going to suck wind throughout the whole thing, or like rest, or taunt. Like we can't see the taunt.
Yeah.
So what is he doing that for during the picture in picture? I think this match is very poorly crafted, lacks a lot of thought, story as well, and that's why I can't give this a high mark, and that's why I think this shit sucks.
I mean, comparatively, I'm gonna be real. Comparatively, for as much shit as I give her, I thought the Mercedes match was way better paced and smarter psychology wise than this was. I thought that she did a lot to show that she was a heel, and I know we're not talking about that yet, but like I actually thought that was pretty fine for what it was as a TV match. You know what this was? This was a match that they put on in a week's notice with very little other than a huge angle that was sparked off from Daniel Garcia's injury that they did with very little notice, and they had to make it epic. So they did every single thing they could to make it epic. There were like 3 styles clashes. There was a crossroads. There was stuff off the top rope. There was stuff on the table. It was work
guys brawling outside.
Brawling outside. It was very New Japan in that sense. Not in terms of the drama. However, that doesn't happen until like later on in the match. Another thing that I didn't get: why wasn't there a constant call for the time limit? Why wasn't there a 10 minutes left, a 5 minutes left? That would have heightened some of the drama for me in this match, and I just didn't get that here.
Yeah. And honestly, when AEW does do that, the wrestlers kind of lack agency or urgency anyway. But yeah, they really waited till like the last 5 minutes to be like, oh my God, we're about to come on. It's about to come to the match time. Like, do they think if they would have just said, oh, there's like 15 minutes left, it would have been too predictable of what they were going to do?
I don't think so, because they knew that there was going to be a definitive winner. Usually when they do that, it's a draw, right? Like more often than not, that when they do that, right? So I think that if they were going to do that and it being the winner being MJF, then that would have worked, I think. But I think, like, again, there's so many story threads that kind of get called into, like the Tiger Driver being a thing that gets brought up in the final 10 seconds of the match or the final 1 minute match, when he hasn't even tried to do it all match. And in fact, I thought that there was just a bunch of stuff here that just, I feel like if another company did this, people would be shitting on it, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Like, people will be shitting on it. I know a lot of people shit on Cody for kicking out of the Burning Hammer a couple of months ago, right? And in the moment, I get why that was a good spot, because you don't see that often, and it kind of furthered, how strong Cody was going to be as a champion, because how strong he is now. But on this, it's like they're kicking out anything. How am I supposed to believe that any of these guys are gonna fucking lay down for anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're getting power drove. He had the hidden blade. outside the ring. He had the hidden blade inside the ring. It was a bunch of shit going on in this match, bro. And I was just like, how do you even keep up with the pace of all of that and say that you can understand moment to moment what was going on?
I think
Yeah.
that the thing that stuck out to me about the time limit element of it is I agree that if they had like actually been selling the time limit draw part of the story like, a half hour sooner, I imagine most of the audience would have assumed this was going to be a draw and there was going to be a rematch later. And I think that would have made the finish even better because they wouldn't expect that they would go to 59 minutes and 43 seconds, right? So it would have been even more shocking. But I don't understand why this title match on Dynamite had a 1 hour time limit draw when the first major time they did this with a match they were giving away on free TV was Danielson Omega, and it was 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I guess looking back, I think that was a non-title match maybe or like an exhibition or some shit, but like they could have done something similar with this and not made it a fucking hour long. It just there's it is there are very few matches that are an hour long that are good that are not from like the late 80s with Ric Flair. Like it's not something that most people do very well. And it's even harder to do with this style because the more you spam all this shit, it just washes over you. You're like, okay, okay, okay. Like you can't expect me after 58 minutes of you dropping a guy on his head all over Arkansas to then think that you doing a Tiger Driver is like you're gonna kill him. Like
Yeah.
now you
Hmm.
worried about this? You've been nearly murdering this man for an hour. So I understand why they're trying to make that a thing. I don't like it, but I get it. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it
Like
doesn't work like 58 minutes in.
you're like not even just 58 minutes in, but it's like, you know, even when people talk about like a lot of like very long New Japan main events, like a lot of times they wouldn't get hot until the last 20 minutes anyway. So they were long and like laborious at times. There'd be a lot of like control segments and stuff. It doesn't make sense to work a match like this that's just the last 15 minutes of a New Japan match for an hour. Like it just you're just like numb, you know what I mean? Like you feel nothing. I couldn't feel anything throughout this match. And you're right, it doesn't help that this has like no build, that the entire impetus for them fighting each other involves Daniel Garcia, who
Yeah.
like wasn't even on TV, I feel like for weeks before the week before that angle.
And also is
So it
not coming back.
well, I mean, and not just the fact that like that's what it was built upon, but like they couldn't even kind of take that and then pivot into well, Ospreay doesn't respect MJF and MJF doesn't respect Ospreay. Throughout the match, MJF kept mugging to the camera about Garcia, and it was like, why are you reminding people that this is about a guy who does not matter to either of you two? Like, it's not like Daniel Garcia is close to Ospreay. It's not like he did this to like Kyle Fletcher or something. Like, there is no sort of connected anything. It's just, everyone just has mutually agreed to pretend like this matters. Um, and if you guys want to, try to suspend your disbelief for that, cool, because you like move so much, but the rest of us, a fucking hour. It got comical after a while. Every time like there was a near fall, it was just like, okay, well maybe it's never gonna end. Maybe this will be the whole fucking episode.
Yeah. And again, like I think when they hit the 30-minute mark, I was like, oh my God, they're gonna go the hour. I was like, they're gonna do the hour, but it's like it felt very self-serving to me in some ways too, where I was just like, you could have did it, you could have cracked a really, really solid 30-minute match, and I would have been like, I would have already, I was prepared to come on the show and say, this is one of the best matches that I've seen on the show. I really was. And it was at one point. But I think that again, when you get to a point where it just seems like this is in service of two people or really one person, and that's MJF and not the other.
Hmm.
I think that that's when it gets crazy because you think of the juxtaposition of Ospreay saying in a moment of I would guess misguided kind of stewardship over their champion right now that he said I will lose to this person because it is the best thing to do to get this person over and that working. Look at what happens on this show when he puts somebody over that's already over and it already gets a reaction and doesn't need the title. I mean, mind you, this title is not a world championship they're fighting over. The world
Hmm.
championship later on in the show, the guy that you put over, look at how this looks now. This looks ridiculous. Like why would Will Ospreay have to lose twice in a month? This is supposed to be the guy that when he came in, everyone said was going to win at Wembley. That does not look like that is going to happen now. And in fact, it's not going to happen, right? Like this, he's now has to climb his way back. There's no reason why they couldn't have had Ospreay not do all of these things that led him to having lost 2 matches in a row when he's supposed to be kind of like your huge star. But he looked dumb out there. I don't think he looked strong there. I think he looked stupid for losing twice, one to the world champion and one to some guy who just came back a week ago. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like I think they've done more damage to him than people are willing to admit right now. And I know that people, I say these things and people will hear it and they'll say like you're wilding, like that's not happening. And I end up being right in a couple months because I don't know how he can recover from this. Getting into a feud with MJF where he's going to destroy you on the mic is fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. He's gonna do whatever he wants to him, Cyrus. He's gonna say whatever he wants to him on the mic. He's not a strong. He's not a strong worker. He's not a strong talker. And he's gonna have to down the vine to MJF for weeks because they're gonna run that match back. And why they do the Pac shit last week? That's not gonna be at Wembley, bro.
I have no idea why they even had that global whatever match. And like
They could have made it for the other belt that looks just like it that is equally unimportant. They have enough belts.
yeah, and then also that happens, and then they don't ask Pac his thoughts on the outcome of the match. Like they don't even like turn the camera to him and he'd be like, I don't really care who wins. Like I'm still gonna get my title match. He's gonna lose anyway, but
I do not agree with the decision to have Ospreay lose. I would have rather the draw if that's what they really wanted to do. You'll still get your Meltzer ratings for that. You'll still get all of that. It just looked like again you juxtapose what he said about Swerve to what the job he did here. Doesn't it feel a little bit different? Doesn't it feel a little bit weirder that this happened this week? Doesn't it feel a little bit not even stupid? I'm not. This is so bewildering that I'm not even going to call it stupid because I'm not even shocked that this happened. But look at what Ospreay's trying to do here compared to what he had to give up here for MJF. It's basically them saying MJF is the bigger star, not you. You're fucking lay down. You're not the man. I am.
And
And
I don't think that AEW or Sean Ross Sapp or any publication could run the gambit or, put the wool over my eyes and be like, Ospreay wanted to do this twice in a row. He wanted to kill his character twice.
I mean, well, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he does not strike me as the smartest individual, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually does believe that it doesn't matter because he'll go out and have great matches and it'll be fine. Like, based on what we know about his understanding about what professional wrestling is, it might not bother him at all. He might just think, oh, that's okay, because I'm gonna go out and I'll get another 6 stars. It's just gonna be great. Everyone's gonna like in his mind, he might not think this is a problem. I guarantee there had to be a week where Jay White came over to him and was like, "Hey, bro, I heard this is happening. Just want to let you know it's not going to go well." And he was like, "No, bro, it'll be different. It'll be fine. It'll be okay." Like, bro, he did this exact thing to me. He's going to do it to you in front of more people.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much worse.
Well, shit,
And
Actually, less people.
less people.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I mean, like, all this, like the fact that he's going to spend weeks, building this up and doing it at Wembley is what I meant. Like,
No.
it's awful. I don't know. Will is going to just get kind of made fun of by MJF for a few weeks, and then he's going to get back his secondary title at Wembley, and that's supposed to be triumphant. That's supposed to be something we're supposed to be excited about. That's sad.
It's super sad. I think again there was one guy who had aura here. There was MJF who obviously will always have that reaction and that reception from the fans at AEW. He's one of them. But I think that again, I've said this before, the way that this company is structured, that unless you're at the top, I say this so many fucking times, that unless you are one of their top 5-6 people, it is going to be very hard for you to break through that fucking that ceiling. And you could say it's Swerve did all you want. Yeah, he did, but look where he's at now. He's right back in that orbit of those people, those aforementioned people I'm talking about. I'm talking about your Adam Coles, your Kenny Omegas, your MJFs, you're all those people. You're not leapfrogging them ever. The only reason people are even getting into that is because Kenny and Adam are injured. You know what I'm saying? Like that you're ultimately that is your core. Like that is the AEW main cast of characters. Right now is actually the wildest part of this their whole kind of existence because it's not a lot of the shows don't have to do with those people anymore. But you're starting to see that it's slowly going back to the status quo there. and just wait till Mox comes back. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna
Yeah.
all it's gonna all go back to those same group of people. Like people better enjoy what they have right now because this was just the first step of it all going back to what it was in 2021 and 2020 and 2020. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's gonna be that again.
like what is it? It's like this show is like the prelude to like I guess like the reset or just like the Benjamin Button to AEW here. Like we're very much gonna go back to the status quo.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Um
I don't see it happening any other way. I as good as the match was, as great as people are gonna say this is for the next 2 weeks before they forget that it fucking happened because it's gonna happen again in Wembley. Um, enjoy it now. But I think that this was a huge fucking mistake. And then they did the whole thing with the oxygen mask, the whole fucking
What was that?
it was so weird. MJF sold nothing of that.
yeah.
It was so fucking weird.
Also, I'm supposed to believe he needs an oxygen tank when I could clearly see a picture in picture him just chilling, saying crisscross applesauce in the corner, bruh. Like, come on, son. He'd be all right.
I think the MJF is a bigger deterrent and is going to end up being a bigger anchor to this company than people actually recognize. I would put him up there with the Bucks. I honestly feel this way.
Yeah. My final thought before we talk about the rest of Dynamite. Um, people people are saying, oh, they're gonna do all of this and then have like the second match at Wembley or whatever. I think there's probably still gonna have the rematch because whatever the fuck. But what is left to do?
I was just
They've
gonna say that.
done they have done so much in this match, and then I'm supposed to believe that like doing this match over again just for him to do the Tiger Driver is gonna be all worth it.
Yes.
Like that's insane. And
Yeah.
then you have Ospreay damn near go an hour. He has medical come check on his shoulder. His knee hurts, his rib hurts. He does all this. He's winning and all that. He goes for the Tiger Driver, and then he does like a stalling Tiger Driver, and then just says fuck it.
Yeah. Knees fine. Shoulders fine. Neck's fine.
Like I don't think that's a whatever, man. I'm off this. All right, let's get into these quick hits, man. We got Mercedes Moné versus Nyla Rose here. It's good to see Nyla Rose. I do wish she was on the show more. I do think that they are very talented, but eh,
You know why this worked for me because Mercedes will largely not wrestle people of the size of Nyla Rose for her whole tenure there, and I think that the she works really well when she's the smaller person, the smaller foil. I think Willow also works a big woman style, but with Nyla they obviously they're a lot bigger than Willow is, but it's like they work like Awesome Kong at times. You know what I mean? And
yeah, because Willow doesn't have the heel move set.
yeah, and also she's it's just in the styling, right? And I think the reason why this match actually worked, I'm actually shocked that I enjoyed it so much, is that again Mercedes got a chance to work on her heel stuff. She got a chance to kind of work all that stuff because again, mind you, like she has not developed this character at all. This is like maybe week 2 of her being a heel. Like this is not a
Mhm.
character that she has been developing since before Forbidden Door. She came out on the show and was a heel again. And there's been no reason why she's been acting like this. So at the very least, she got to act like a heel during this match, and we got to see that. And I thought it was pretty effective for her.
Mhm. And then just to end the match, well, kind of leading up to the end is Mercedes Moné putting on a glove that had like nails. I thought that was really weird. And then doing the lockjaw submission that would really taunt Britt Baker. And then I felt like the post match was fine, but I feel like the security like fucked it up.
Oh yeah, for sure. They trucked Mercedes. I was like, bro, she's
Yeah,
very
like
small.
Britt Baker is banned from the building. She does, well, it's not the Sting thing, but she does the Sting thing. And the security is just like, oh, let me stop this from happening. And then they don't go for the person that was banned from, well, they weren't banned from backstage, but they didn't go for the who I would perceive as the aggressor. They
Yeah,
like tried to stop Mercedes Moné, who's not trying to fight her at all.
like she was a
Um,
fan. Like she was a fan of the crowd.
yeah, they had no idea what they were doing. That was funny. Speak, bitch.
Hold on. One more thing I thought was weird about that match. Is it not kind of heel 101 to have the heel do the other person's finisher and actually finish the enhancement talent with it? I thought it was weird they didn't have her finish her with the lockjaw. I thought that would have been effective. I don't know.
They put the glove on for not to not do that. It's just AEW things, you know.
Was that not weird?
It
Oh
was
no,
weird,
it's
but
extremely
also
stupid.
unsurprising. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of who it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's AEW, you know. We get a Mariah May promo. Um,
We were worried. I thought it wasn't gonna happen. It was 6:45 or over here it was 6:45 and
yeah.
she had not come out yet.
Yeah. I like Mariah May in the ring. I like some of the stuff that she's been doing with Tony Storm here. Um, but as a promo, I see what the flaw is.
Yeah, this
I sort of
promo.
think it's not fair to judge her on not like I care, but like for her first significant promo to be doing an impression of someone is like not ideal, right? Because like
Yeah.
I understand that that's where they are in this storyline that I guess RJ City wrote personally, but we don't know what is her regular character going to be beyond this feud. We don't know how she's going to talk, what she's going to do, because right now all she has is I'm just fucking with Tony.
Yeah. I think this is a very poor start to everything since her character has largely been I am a big fan of Tony Storm. And now it's supposed to be I'm mocking Tony Storm, and it's just like, the character still just who is she gonna be on her lonely? We will never know. But this promo really fucking stinks because
It
Tony
was
doesn't even cut promos like this.
it was very slow. It was very plotting, and again, like that it would have been very effective for me if, and I feel like it's kind of weird to say this. It probably would have been effective to me if it opened the show. Like I feel like it probably should have opened the show, and I think that you would have got a lot more heat. By this time, it was they had seen an hour long
Hmm.
match. They had seen a lot of things on this show already. She's cutting this promo. It's really slow. The crowd's barely reacting. She's getting what chance? A lot of people didn't even recognize that she wasn't Tony Storm. Can we actually
Yeah.
talk about that too? Like no one recognized that it wasn't her.
Brother, I didn't recognize it until they said something. I
Yeah,
was like,
exactly.
No,
why's she walking funny?
I noticed when commentary said that like Arkansas is a little or whatever the fuck they're at is like a little slow because they were cheering her as if that was Tony Storm. And then Tony Schiavone did the speak bitch, and I was just like, "Why are you talking to Tony Storm?" Like, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's not her."
Speak bitch was crazy. I think they need
Highlight of the show.
they
Yes,
that was crazy.
I don't know what possessed him to like do that, and then even commentary was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
I'm just fired up. I'm sorry. He was like trying to defend it.
I was like, I don't know. I never heard a babyface commentator go crazy like that. Like I thought that was like very bizarre. Um, Instead of opening the show, I think this would have been better as a video package. Because they played a video package anyway, like prior to her coming out. So I didn't really think that was like necessary for.
I think that's what led to some of the confusion. It was like that video package, then a commercial break, and then Tony's music hitting, and I was like, oh, they didn't say Tony's gonna be here. And we were, we've all kind of noticed that like Tony and Mercedes don't ever seem to be on the episode at the same time. So,
Mhm.
that was weird that her music hit. But I don't understand why she couldn't just have like done it and then like wipe the makeup off or something. You know what I mean? Like
Or
something to
take the
kind of
wig off, or it wasn't a wig, but
yeah.
like
I feel like every time someone does the I'm coming out as you to fuck with the crowd thing, there's the part where it becomes obvious that it's not them. Like when CM Punk came out as Jeff Hardy that one time, like it only seemed like Jeff Hardy for like 10 seconds before it was like, oh, that is obviously CM Punk joking around. This though, I was like, this is pretty good impression, honestly. Not so much vocally, but like looks wise. She should have like done it and then, moved away from it to kind of be like establishing an actual character. I don't know what people are saying like they're gonna make her a star at Wembley when she, beats her or whatever, but it's like you made her a heel who has no character outside of her relationship with this one person. I
Mhm.
don't know that it's really making somebody a star. I don't I just don't see it.
Well, there's always like that sense where like AEW's got that one hit away, like and their fans and their people they have like this one hit away syndrome. It's like this it's just gonna take this one promo and she's gonna be a star, and it's just like then the quarter hours come back and it's like, oh shit, she's absolutely not one. You know what I'm saying? It's like she could have hammed it up a little bit. I agree, but I think again, there's just so many things that just worked against everything on the second hour. Where I say it was routine AEW, but it's like nothing felt 250 other than that match. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing felt
Hmm.
the you waiting 250, for episode for 250 for this grand thing, but it felt rushed. If ultimately it felt very rushed, and it was a basic promo that's not unlike you would hear on from a developmental talent on NXT. To be honest with you, like I was like, listen, this could have been Kalani Jordan turning heel. I want to known. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have been the same thing.
He didn't have to throw Claudia under the bus like that. But all right, let's wrap up this
Yes,
AEW
I did.
portion.
Yes, I did because she was fucking terrible on NXT too.
Swerve versus Okada. Wrestling after MJF and Ospreay, bold.
Very bold. I would also shudder to say Okada looks broken down, and I think that he might be past his prime at this point. Not gonna lie to you, he looked slow out there, very slow. They were hitting each other very soft. There was no hard like this is this like the New Japan wrestler to American company pipeline. The same thing we saw with Nakamura. Like Nakamura has that one good match with Sammy, and then afterwards we're like, oh wait, he really is broken down. He's really not doing much out there, and he's continued to do that for the last decade. And then Okada finally signs over from New Japan to AEW, and you realize, oh wow, he's put on some weight. He's actually not doing much. Like his physique looks terrible, bruh. He does not look like, and again, he wasn't like a body guy in New Japan, but like he looks like he been eating out here. He looked like he been eating everything, every Waffle House. He been at that bit.
I think what makes it worse is like Nakamura had clearly was not operating at the high level he was at when he left Japan, but he was not like terrible. He was just not as good as we had seen at his peak. And no one really faulted him for not trying because he didn't really need to. Like he has like enough charisma and other shit that people would be into seeing him regardless, right? So it was like kind of smart that he didn't have to work so hard. But Okada's not, I mean, he's just doing like goofy shit. And as much as everyone keeps being like, well, he's actually a comedy wrestler at heart, teehee, it's like so funny and based or whatever. Like, no, if he was doing this shit with fucking Tozawa in WWE, or if he was wearing that fucking Chase U sweater, people would not feel that way. They would be very frustrated that, the King of Pro Wrestling was like doing this. And his matches haven't been very good. He's not doing anything character wise really other than just like cursing from time to time. I think this is worse. I think this is worse than Surfer Nakamura for sure. I don't know that we're still going to be able to see him occasionally have a good match because I don't know that cadence is going to be there.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, you look at how little he works like right now at the current clip that he's at, and I just don't see him kind of living up to whatever it is that people are wanting to see from him. Like I'm not seeing like a Tanahashi esque level of Okada here. I'm seeing an Okada that worked those Road 2 shows at this point.
Mm, those are
Yeah,
heavy words, man.
and I'm sorry, like I love Okada. He's one of my favorites. I just don't see it, and I thought Swerve Russell circles around him. It looked like they had a very truncated match that people were getting upset that Sammy and Ilya Dragunov had this week. Like everyone was so mad that Sammy and Ilya got like 10 minutes or something like that, right? On Raw. They're like, oh, they
Mm.
fucking disrespected them. This is the worst thing ever. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you call this? After they had to follow up a fucking hour long match where they did everything that they could have possibly done, that Okada and Swerve had to follow that. Like they were given no favors. They did what the best of what they had, but you're dealing with somebody that's broke down, and you're also dealing with somebody that kind of was barely getting any heat. Like, am I weird for not noticing that? Like, Swerve gets very little heat out there now. Like people really don't react to him anymore like that, other than the entrance.
Hey man, if not dancing, bro, they don't give a shit.
I hate to say it because I vehemently do not like Swerve. But for his relative skill level and like what I would consider to be his talent, it is kind of sad watching someone get the title in this way, like having one of these title runs that you may as well not have had. Like you get to say you're a world champion, but like everyone knows you weren't. Everyone knows you really weren't. And there have been a lot of guys who've had title reigns like that, and we call them that. We call it out. But I feel like these people are afraid to do that about Swerve. Like they're like, no, but it's different. It's different. Like hey, if he don't make it out of Wembley, I think his reign ends up being like a week shorter than Kofi's. Um,
Oh
and
God.
everyone comfortably called Kofi's reign, like a tokenizing type thing. So I don't see how this is different.
I tell you what, Randy Orton ain't never get on no fucking interview or whatever and say that he let Kofi win because it was a good thing to do to show people that he was a serious champion. They had
Can
him
you imagine if he had? Can you even imagine if he had?
exactly. Imagine the fervor if he fucking said that shit. And again, like he got the DEI fucking reign, bro. Like Ospreay did him no favor saying that out loud to somebody. Like that made him look like such an idiot. And Run had this match for it to be so fat. Like everything in this second hour was so truncated and fast and moving so fast. It was so crazy how fast everything was moving afterwards. And then this match was just sort of like, oh well. So at one point, 5 minutes in, I was like, okay, so just let's get to the run-ins at this point because I know what's about to happen.
Yeah, it's always run-ins, man. Um, but yeah, that is it for AEW. Largely, I do think I would like to thank the hour-long match because there's only really one thing to really talk about, and you can speed through everything else.
Oh no, we got the confirmation of Team AEW this week, bro. You forgot about that.
Yes, Team AEW is going to be the Elite with Hangman Page. It's going to be Swerve, the Acclaim, and the Briscoes and Darby Allin. I'm pretty sure we all saw that a mile away, but that is our teams.
What's crazy to me is that it was being heavily rumored that it was going to be Motor City Machine Guns, and those talks abruptly ended like 2 weeks ago. And I'm wondering if it wasn't supposed to be the Acclaim, but it was supposed to be somebody else.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, a lot of those Motor City Machine Guns talk stopped. Um, di does it stop because FTR
I
is
think
like
I think
didn't go to
FTR
jail?
I think FTR are back because Motor City Machine Guns probably said no. I think they're back because of that. But again, FTR only seem to be working on Collision at this point. So I mean, I guess you can't really call it that.
Yeah, when they reappeared after acting like they were going to be off for some time, I assumed they were going to get shoehorned into Blood and Guts, but they're not. So I don't know why they came back.
Al- Also, I just want to say I think it'd be very dumb for FTR to come back after they just got their asses handed to at Anarchy in the Arena.
Well,
why?
fuck, Darby's back. I mean, shit.
Yeah, like
Like,
why aren't they coming back?
You see, people care about Darby. That's the
like, like
difference.
like this match should solely like ultimately, honestly, this match should be everyone that was in that match. This is literally just the rematch.
Brian not doing this, even though he wouldn't say no.
You're right. You're right.
well, I mean, look, you go back to like this new step with the NWO every like few months or whatever, but like for the most part, the core, whoever they were making the baby faces against them, stayed consistent. It wasn't like 1 month it's Luger and this person, and then a month later it's like now Disco Inferno's fighting them. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's a pretty big, I think, like downgrade to go from like FTR, who were like heated rivals with the Bucks since they're joining the company, to have the fucking Acclaimed out there. Like I don't. That's very weird to me,
Mhm.
especially in this kind of match.
It is silly. Um, but yeah. How'd y'all feel about AEW getting permission from Martha Hart to do the Darby thing?
Whatever.
He
Everything
just
they
looked like
do
the
is
SpongeBob meme where he's like hanging in the thing. Like it didn't
bro,
look cool.
For when he came down backwards and he was wearing like Marilyn Manson top coming down backwards. One, I mean, again, everything they do is for brownie points. Like, honestly, who even asked that question? Who gives a fuck? Like, they could do that and keep that completely secret, and we could not know, and we'd be fine. We'd probably be better off for it. Good on them for asking her, but honestly, I don't need to know it.
Yeah, don't really. Also, like, just keep doing it, like whatever. But I don't need to know that Martha Hart gave y'all the okay. Like, is she inspecting the equipment for y'all too? All right, now that concludes AEW. NXT. Um, Often of NXT, a lot of things happen on these shows. But we're gonna start with Ethan Page versus Dante Chen.
Oh, brother. Do the
What? This
pose.
your guy.
Do the pose.
Ah! He looked like he played peekaboo, bro. Uh, Ethan Page is screaming in Ava's office, and then Oro Mensah pulls up on him and basically just says, "You know what? I'll wrestle the match, just not you. I'll motherfucking Dante Chen. I'll go beat his ass." I thought that was great, but I knew it was gonna be Dante Chen. Like what other jobbers they got out there?
Alexis King.
We're gonna talk about that. Um, but yeah, Dante Chen and Ethan Page have a match. I think Ethan Page is pretty good. He's showing. I think I said it before. Like he's showing me the character that people said that he had when he signed with AEW.
He is a very, and this is not a bad thing to say, very mid 2000s, early 2010s heel. Just in terms of how he comes off. I think that NXT needs that type of heel because it's a show with characters, right? It's a show with characters and caricatures of people, right? He feels real. You know what I'm saying? He feels like a real person walked into NXT and just took over. And I think he stands out in all of this mountain of character. Like, look at him next to Oro Mensah and whatever the fuck Oro was dressed as. You know what I'm saying? Like, he stands out in the fact that he is so regular in a way, which is crazy to think, but he gave a lot. And again, if the idea is that Ethan Page is supposed to be getting people ready for that next step, he should be working with all these people. And I think that it's working for them and is helping them because it helped Dante Chen become a more sympathetic babyface. It's helped Javon Evans in the past couple of weeks, and in turn, it's going to help Trick Williams whenever they decide to lock up again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The match is just kind of like whatever. It's Dante Chen. You either like him or you don't. Ethan Page, you either like it or you don't. I don't think this match was supposed to be grandiose in any way.
Oh
Definitely
no,
didn't go an hour long.
let's just be clear. We're not getting MJF Ospreay on this show at all. The
Yeah.
matches are not graded on a curve. They are what they are. But I did like the hang time Dante got on the Ego's edge. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, he floated on that motherfucker. Post match, on-site Oro, love the nickname. Starts beating Ethan Page, starts beating up Ethan Page, and then getting a visual pin on Ethan Page. I That should be the next match, no? How long y'all think they gonna put this off?
It should be, I guess, is the Great American Bash match. What's interesting with Oro to me is that they seem to be putting him in the slot that Noam was probably going to fill before he got injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was going to be the natural progression of what this storyline was. It does to me seem like Noam won't be back for a while, so they kind of got to get this one over with and out the way. I just don't want to see them break up Metaphor at all. I like the core of this team. I was really excited for their babyface turn. So hopefully they can get that out the way. But I think that will be his next match. Oro to me was somebody who debuted with a shitty gimmick and was redeemed.
I don't even remember what that initial gimmick was before he's just a playboy, right? I was like, yeah.
He was party boy, like the DJ man. He was a party boy, and they changed it up and they really saved him in that way. And I think that he's actually one of the more endearing characters on the show. after that promo that he cut. I've been interested in what he's doing and saying. So it's gonna be really cool to see how Ethan can again create yet another person here just based off of him. And let's be clear, it's not like he's not reinventing the wheel with the stuff that he's doing on the mic. You know what I'm saying? He's literally just talking bare minimum, and he's making these guys look
Hmm.
like more sympathetic baby faces. So again, if he's getting these guys ready before he leaves, then that's cool. Like the amount and the speed of which they're burning through these feuds for him really does make me think he will not be there come Mania next year. Like they're just burning through shit with him right now.
Hmm.
It's like, bro, he's got another match tonight.
Like, damn, you don't think he at least got one stand to deliver on his belt?
That'll be the last one if that's the case. I really do see a Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre like mentality, or not mentality, but tenure for him here. Um, he has so many friends high up in the main roster for me to believe that he's ever going to be there that long. And I think that they really do value those types of relationships. I think Ethan's biggest ally up there is Cody Rhodes, and I think that's really the reason why I don't think he's gonna be there very long. Like Sean Spears, he's signed to NXT to do that. He is also a coach there. Ethan Page is probably getting paid main roster money right now, or certain close to it.
Hey man, we'll see what happens. I'll miss him when he's gone. I think he's doing a lot of great stuff here.
There's so much stuff going on with the men this week that I'm like, hey, they kind of they're working on
Yeah,
something, making some shit.
they yeah, a lot of our I would say like a lot of our criticisms of like NXT would be like the men are just not as interesting as the women.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a very male centric show. The women were still like on it, but like this really got a lot of stuff going on with the men. Um, Next segment we just have the Thea Hale and Roxanne confrontation. Um, Roxanne addressing her potential challengers, mentioning Julia and Stephanie Vaquer, um, kind of already looking past Thea Hale, which yeah, I think we should all be just looking past Thea Hale. I don't think she's going to be the one to dethrone Roxanne, but I did think that Thea Hale did cut a pretty good promo here, and looked strong in the end, getting her armbar on Roxanne, and then the pull apart and all that sort of jazz.
It was good. It was solid. But again, with Roxanne, it does it not seem like they're biding their time before they kind of
Shoot
unveil.
her away.
Well, not even sure away. I think that I honestly don't think she's going to be gone until next year. But because I think they want to give her some time with on the CW at first, just so she could be kind of
Hmm.
face of that. Um, and I did like her promo saying that she was carrying the brand like Charlotte did, or and stuff like that. Like that, those are
Hmm.
she actually cut a really good promo. I think that she was shaky at first as a heel for sure. But I think now she's what worked is that she started talking in a deeper voice. I think she changed her tone a little bit.
Yeah, that
Um,
helped.
Start smoking them Newports. I see it.
the tone really helped because she was sounding like a child. That Lola promo, I thought that I know you weren't too fond of it, Cyrus. Like, and I agree. Like,
Oh, I
she
thought it was whatever.
she sounded like the one where Lola cried. That one, like I thought she sounded like a baby. You know what I'm saying? I thought she sounded like a kid. This one, she put some bass in her voice, and it actually made her seem kind of imposing. But I also feel like again, they're getting to the point on this show with her and Ethan especially, where they're burning through these feuds because they got to get these new people set. And I think that whoever beats her, whether it be Julia or Steph, they're made. You know what I'm saying? Like they're made forever after that. In the same way that Lyra was before they kind of called her up super early. So I love this promo. I think Thea is great. I think with Thea right now, it's like they got to figure out what to do with Chase U, yo. Because and we'll talk about it with the main event, but it's like
She,
they got to figure some shit out.
she is so good without Chase U. Like
Yeah,
I think that she is going to be a great little character without Chase U. If they were to continue Chase U, I would cut Riley and Ridge out of it.
I think Ridge needs to go on Indeed.
Nah,
Type
no.
in Applebee's as a
Oh
search
fuck.
term
Oh my god.
and see what's going on with like server, you know what I'm saying, server busboy type things. I think those would be what he's a big guy. He could carry a lot of plates. So let's see what we could do with that.
Yeah, bar backing or, just walking into the steel mill with a hard hat on and then just work. Who cares? Like, don't even worry about getting paid, bro.
We need niggas that could do trades, bro. We need niggas need to, you know, they need to learn a trade, bro. He needs to learn a trade. Wrestling might
Yeah,
not be for him, bro.
It's always a
wrestling
little
not.
sad when like someone who's like body guy adjacent can't get it together because like someone looks at him and goes, "Okay, you look like a wrestler. Like you look like you should be here, but you're
And then he
just
got two
not.
left feet.
It's not working. You're not doing it at all."
Bro, the bodies and souls of Johnny Gargano, Big E, all those people they haunt him, bro. Like he's not gonna be right karma wise until Big E comes back. I think I fully believe this. He will not hit his stride until Big E is back. That is when he will get his confidence back.
Um, Big E, take your time, man. Uh,
Yeah, for real.
I I need Rich gone. I don't think he's really adding anything to like Chase U at all. Um, they may have told you that he's the one that got the people these title matches, but I just think he just needs a purpose. And being their booker is you can't convince me that is his purpose.
I know what his purpose is. I already told y'all what his purpose is, but go ahead.
No problem. Uh Dom, any thoughts on the Roxanne Thea Hill segment?
I thought it was good. I'm a huge Rocks fan. I too think that her heel run has been strange just because she's so tiny and adorable. It's like that's a really hard handicap to work over. But I like that, her in ring is, she's building on a lot of like kind of technical wizard, young dragon, Dean Malenko type shit. And then on the mic, she's kind of channeling like AJ Lee, but less insane. I think it's working really well. I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I feel like her and Thea Hale are probably gonna have fun.
Okay. Um, Before we get into quick hits, I had a question because I saw a picture of Nikita Lyons not too long ago, and that reminded me that she existed. And then I just had to remember like everybody that is like out with injury, and probably the only other person was like Cora Jade. If these two were to come back, where would you even slot them?
Here's my thing. I think Cora is actually in a better spot than Nikita is.
Oh, much better. Yeah.
Because Cora has a ready-made feud or a ready-made team up when she gets back with Roxanne.
Yeah,
Nikita, I almost feel like you have to turn her heel because there's so many people that have leapfrogged her. If you think about it, the last person she was feuding with was Blair. Blair is on the main fucking roster now. She is gone. So like
yeah,
that story's finished. She really has an uphill battle, and then it's almost like she has to start from scratch because a lot of the workers that she was with are gone.
that and then also like a lot of her peers are like kind of like above that now.
Yeah.
Like just wrestling you again, like kind of like serves no purpose for me.
She's got to turn heel. I would almost say that like she got to be in the Fallon Henley spot, but like Fallon's already kind of got her spot there, and with Jasmine in them, so it's like can't make her really a baby face. She'll probably get that baby face pop, but it's like who she turn against? Like maybe Lola. I think that would be cool, but Lola's just not hitting her stride as a baby face, and like
Mhm.
there's just so many people that have like up level, and it shows you again, and that's a great question to have, Cyrus, because it shows you just how fast things can change in NXT. Like these
Yeah.
she wasn't even she was a top level like going for the title star, and now I can't even
Yeah.
imagine her even sniffing a Roxanne match right now.
Mm-mm.
Like I was thinking about it, and I was just like, you can't like Lash Legend for all intents and purposes is a face now. I think that I do think currently that metaphor is like fully face.
They're fully faced. Yeah, she's been faced since the trick stuff.
Yeah. So it was just like, okay, you can't really go back to rekindle that rivalry because like it's not really there anymore.
Well, you could do it, but they're on different sides. That's just what AEW does. They just do the same feuds, but they're on different sides of time.
We're trying to not do what they do. Um, But yeah, no, I was just like thinking about it earlier, and I was just like, I really don't know what you do with her. And as a final answer, just so we can move on, I'm saying her to TNA.
I, I almost laughed, but
No, I heard it.
that's
Not a bad
perfect.
idea.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, it's perfect. She could face off against Jordan Grace. Have her go there is kind of like this is gonna be crazy to say. Let her be the fucking the Mick Foley to ECW, or like the Jerry Lawler to ECW, just talking shit about their females over there, yo. That'd be dope.
Can she do that? That's the thing. But I would not hate
Here's
if
my
they
thing.
like did that.
I don't think she's a bad talker.
No, I'm not saying that she's a. I don't remember if she can.
I
he's
think the issue is just like she's gotten hurt, she's been out a lot, and all we see is just her on social media. So like it takes, yeah, the memory needs to be jogged that she can like take bumps and stuff and not just like, post ass. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's fantastic. But like, yeah, sometimes I just forget that she also wrestles. Like, if anything, I almost feel like she should have been in like the GM role instead of like Ava. You know what I mean? Like they could have kept her around. She could just like look how she looks and like and just talk at people and not have to endanger her ACL any further.
booty and booking. I get it. I like that.
Uh, I don't even want to think about the stuff with the GMs is also like a thing on the show that I'm like, hey man, if you ain't really got nothing for these motherfuckers to do, man, send them to
Oh,
Applebee's, bro.
all right. Well, here's the thing. Richard Stone or Robert Stone's a coach there, so he has a purpose. And
All
Stevie,
right, have that purpose off my screen.
I what's wrong with using everyone? There's nothing wrong with using
He
everyone.
is being used.
Use
It just don't got to be on my TV.
I don't mind the GM stuff. The thing is that it's leading to Stevie Turner having some sort of character or something going on with her. I think that's
I'm cool with her like trying to figure out what she got going on, but Mr. Stone.
because the thing with Stevie is, I seen you wrestle a couple weeks ago. Come on now, put on that dress, bruh.
Yeah, that Twitch streaming shit was not working out, brother.
Yeah, get to
Uh,
work.
okay, quick hits. Trick Williams is on a FaceTime call with Ilya Dragunov. I thought this segment was really cool and funny because this nigga is on a FaceTime call full volume in public. Um, could it do that in your locker room, man? Uh,
I was like, well, number two. At first, I was like, who are you talking to, and why are you talking to your phone like that? And I was like, oh, he's on a call. And then I thought it was Mello, and I thought that would have been crazy, but it was Ilya, which was cute. I like their bromance.
I I thought that would honestly who I initially thought it was, I thought it was gonna be John Cena.
Oh wow, okay.
Because Cena is the one that kind of like told him when it's his time. So I thought that was just gonna be a person that he consoles. But yeah, no, I like this a lot. And then Trick Williams kind of gets off the call, and then Pete Dunne is just around, very angry, very pissed off. I guess about the Sheamus situation, and it's just like, I don't know, man. It's kind of a done deal. Just beat Sheamus ass, bro. That
Pete
nigga left y'all high and dry.
Pete's putting in a lot of work on both shows. It's looking to me.
Mhm.
I don't know if this is the same to you guys. It looks like it's going to be Pete versus Trick very soon.
Yeah, yeah. Next week type shit.
Which would be kind of cool. Again, it's about the chase for Trick at this point. He's got to work from the bottom. I think you want to give him that adversity because again, he had very few he had matches with really two guys before he got that.
Yeah.
It was Mello and Ilya. That's it. See what I'm
And
saying?
then for to even get that opportunity, he only did shit for the past like 30 seconds of the match.
Exactly. Like he did very little to get not to get the opportunity, but in those matches. So
Yeah.
I fuck with what Pete's doing. I think it's very, how can I say, subversive to have him on both shows playing this character, and to have his story continue on Monday and Tuesday is definitely something that's different and that they haven't done very often.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like whatever happens to Pete on Monday, he's like very pissed off about it Tuesday.
That continuity
Like
is good.
we start getting his like reaction to things, even like if he's not going to talk to a Kathy Kelly, or it's not a digital exclusive type shit, like you're going to see his reaction on NXT, so tune in for that. And then also, that might lead into like Sheamus pulling up to the PC one time.
Shit.
I
I
like that
didn't think.
idea though of like the guys who are main roster talent who still work in NXT of like them having problems on the main roster and then coming and like taking it out on the students down there. You know, like yeah, like all right, I got my ass beat, you know, by like Bronson Reed, but I can beat the shit out of Dante Chen. You know, like I can come
Yeah,
down
like,
here and like
all right, man. Can we leave Dante Chen alone, man?
Like me and Yim, why are you putting the stick to that lady, bro? Like,
yeah, right. I lost again.
Lost a Nia putting the belt to ass to Jada, bro.
bro, crazy, bro. Like you need that much smoke? And they're on this show this week too, doing the same shit.
Yeah. Um, the Rascals link up and they defeat Gallus. I thought this was really cool. This PC loved it. Like crazy ovation. Like y'all talked about on the A show, like it was very sad how like MSK kind of just like fell apart.
Mhm.
So this is like a really good feel good story for the Rascals and Wesley in general.
Yeah, like I said, like if this is the last time he ever gets to wrestle there, at least for a while, for as long as he signed in TNA, then like he got to go out on his own terms this time. And I feel like a lot of people wanted
Mhm.
that happen for him, is that he gets to go out on his own terms. I thought that,
Yeah.
like I said, a lot of people thought he got an incredibly raw deal with what happened when he got fired 2 years ago. And so for him to be back is it's kind of surreal to see that. And in terms of the match, like I thought it was good. Again, I think our problems with Gallus have less to do with like their in ring and more to do with like their characters and like just where they
Oh,
play.
yes.
They're just really fucking annoying on everything they do. But I'm going to break the cycle here. I'm going to break the cycle here. I think that the Joe Hendry thing is like the perfect thing to actually get them over as like heels that we have
To hate
care
on the
about.
most popular thing.
Yes, I think that the Joe Hendry thing is working for them. I think that again, him showing up and doing commentary, and I've said this on the Discord. NXT has done more to maximize what Joe Hendry is as a character and as like as a kind of a larger than life personality than TNA does. I think a lot of what Joe Hendry does, and from what I've seen, is stuff that he's kind of done on his own. And what they've done here is they've combined like that top level production work and that note in maximizing their social visibility, maximizing how he is marketability wise, and like putting him on places on the show where it makes sense. Him coming out after they've all laid down, and then Vic saying, F it, I'm gonna say it his name. That's Joe Hendry, and he comes out was such a great fucking touch.
Okay. I've already expressed like last week, I don't really get the joke, but I would not have mind the Joe Hendry thing here if it didn't collide with the moment of like we are seeing the Rascals, like we are seeing MSK come back together. And that kind of just became an afterthought as soon as he came out. Like commentary was barely talking about the match. Booker was doing play by play.
Yeah, Booker was definitely ignoring Joe Hendry, which I thought was fun.
And then Joe Hendry didn't even like say much because Vic and
They
Booker
were
just kept
arguing.
bickering.
Yeah, they were arguing the whole time. And again, like to your point, yes, they that did happen during like a pretty widely publicized and advertised match, right? But
Mhm.
it was to further the feud with Gallus, which they are also connected to. And I don't think we'll see that happen again. But like I get how that does look. It does look kind of fucked up. It really does. Because again, it
I
took
I
attention away.
would have just preferred it to be like Gallus loses, he comes out, and that's like the insult to injury, and it doesn't really like bother like the match itself. Because I did feel like he was very distracting for the match.
Yeah, maybe
That I
at the
thought was really
end,
good.
maybe at the end, like we lost, but fuck, at least we didn't lose to Joe Hendry. And then he says it
And then he
accident.
comes out,
Yeah,
yeah. I think that would have been cooler too. I thought
that
the little bit
that would have been fine.
backstage was really good. Like
That was good.
he, you know, I mean, I know people have been calling people comparing him to Blue Pants is like real painful.
I'm sorry for that.
No, because I mean, like, I think the difference is that I think the Blue Pants was like always kind of a goober and like just like an actual joke, and I think that Joe Hendry has like, you know, maybe not the highest ceiling, but I think definitely a higher ceiling than somebody like that, and I think that you know, to his credit, he just feels like he's on the show now. It doesn't feel weird. Like he just seems like he belongs here. Like he just seems like he's a cast member.
Yeah, I don't think TNA owns him anymore. Like that shit over with.
I think he specifically said that he still has a deal, but they're letting him do this or something or whatever. But
Mhm.
like the number one thing that I got from him on this episode was I felt a very similar energy to the way that like Pierce and Aldis are on the main roster, where
Mhm.
like I can't necessarily see like Joe Hendry with like the Intercontinental title or something like that, but I can definitely see Joe Hendry as like a GM and like and being like a figure on the show and like being like someone people invest in. I don't know if that's actually his future, but I just remember thinking like, I could see him like him being at the office, not Ava and Stone and everybody else. I could see that being a thing. But he seemed, I don't know, he seemed to fit. And I think that this era of NXT has gotten so much better at like having an identity and then also like weaving other people into it as if they were always there. Like
Mhm.
once someone shows up, they're like Ego wasn't there very long before it felt like he was just kind of a part of the show, even though he stuck out. He just like belonged.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's a testament to how much better they are at developing these characters on NXT now. I think they finally got the right mix of what they're doing, and I think having these crossovers has really worked in spades for not only TNA but also the characters on WWE. Like they have felt more like I say this not because they're reviving the games, but also because like it does really feel like this. It feels like Marvel versus Capcom. Like it really feels like they're just having a blast. Like they just happen to be in the same orbit, and that's what your crossovers are supposed to feel like. Not one person coming over, burying your talent and taking your belt. You know what I'm saying? Like that does
Hmm.
like that's what they're in it for. It seems like they're in it to mutually try to get people over. Izzy Dame goes over there, Tatum Paxley goes there, Joe Hendry comes here. It's all mutual, and I think that if this is a litmus for how collaborations are going to be happening with these companies and with WWE in general, I think people should probably be paying attention and maybe, you know, campaigning to try and make that happen to their stars because it's really helping.
Yeah, I do think that like this relationship is like beneficial for like both sides. I'm still not gonna watch TNA, but I think it's cool.
And you don't. And again, TNA need to learn the biggest lesson from wrestling. Never invite your girlfriend backstage. Never work with your wife. Never do these things because next thing you know, she's a ring rat. That's what they say. I'm not calling Joe Hendry a rat, but you get the analogy. Go ahead.
I get it. I get it. Okay. Moving on, we have Javon Evans defeating Brooks Jensen, the same Brooks Jensen that beat his ass last week because, oh man, I was just trying to make a name for myself. That, damn.
Beat up the black man is crazy a week before the RNC. Uh, Brooks Jensen coming out looking like Trump's assassination shooter. Uh,
All right, man. You could go with Jelly Roll and Post Malone.
Listen, I forgot he could go. He could actually go. I was actually kind of
Yeah.
shocked at how good he was here.
Yeah. In his appearance and offense, it really did give off ECW energy. So I was really fucking with it. Like he does like the gut buster or whatever to Javon on the announce table. And I was just like, that was very random for this like match, but I'm fucking with it.
You know what he reminded me of? And Dom, I know you'll know this. Primetime Brian Lee from ECW.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good comparison.
He was reminding me of Primetime Brian Lee. And I think if he gets a good power bomb on him, he could really pull that off. But like I'm actually interested in what goes on here with him and Brooks. And I liked this match, and I thought Javon again getting a sorely needed win back. But they both got their shit off. Some real good high
Mhm.
flies. That spot with the announce table looked fucking frightening. Like that shit looked scary.
Yeah, that shows heat. Um Next week, since Josh Briggs is gonna be part of the N1.
Yeah, the N1
Mhm.
victory. Mhm.
Yeah, he's gonna be part of the N1 victory over at Noah. So him and Jensen are gonna have a no DQ match next week. Towards the end of the show, uh Josh Briggs is still like yelling at him and trying to talk to him. Like, damn, y'all been doing this for like an hour 40. Um, and he's just like, am I gonna have to like beat some sense into you like I did last time? And I was just like, I'm glad you brought that up. And he said, all right, man, you want to do it again, bitch? No DQ. I'll see you next week, man.
Then
Josh Briggs gonna be
he hops into a car. Who do y'all think he hopped into the car with? Somebody picked him up.
Probably Spears, right? I mean, I can't think of anyone else.
Spears was the best guest I saw in the Discord. So I'm gonna go with that one.
I don't know, man. I feel like Spears is on his own vibe, but you might be right. I just I don't know. I think Jensen would be cool if he just had his own thing, but if it's Spears, I guess they're he's
I
gonna be
I
around.
feel
So
like it's either
I
got to
do
be
agree.
Spears or I can't think of anybody from TNA that they could come over. You know what I mean? Like I don't know who else like it could be. Um, I had a really horrible image just now of it being Don Callis. I know that's not possible, but I'm so used to him just
What
showing up with
is
people.
you okay, man?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Jensen has like a lot of potential, man. Like I saw people on Twitter, I guess, comparing him to like Jack Perry, and I was like, I don't see it at all, other than the fact that they
Yeah.
both have like facial hair now. Like I don't see any
so
of that.
so one was a
Yeah.
work one is a work suspension, one was the absolute real one that they're trying to make look like a work suspension. I don't get the don't get the comparison there. Jack Perry was absolutely
Yeah.
suspended for what he did.
Their paths don't even align. Like, what is it? Jensen was like spiraling, he started having like alcohol problems and he needed an intervention and all that.
It is
Um,
because these people cannot look at things through a non-linear lens, and that's why they're comparing the two. Because there's like you said, their paths are not even fucking alike. But just because one of they both did the I'm an outcast, I'm not supposed to be here. I bought a ticket to be here type shit. They think that it's the same. It's really not the same.
yeah,
I
not
don't
even
know.
close. Moving on, we got Tatum Paxley defeating Izzy Dame.
Good.
Um, we're not going to get into that here. Um, I don't remember much about this match. Like it kind of just like came and went, and like if I close my eyes, I all I can see is Wendy pulling up with the doll, and then like one, two, three.
Listen, Tatum took out the trash, and it looks like she's going to be in some type of entanglement with Wendy Chu, which I'm okay with. I think that's
Yes,
completely fine. I think Wendy needed a alike, and I think Tatum is a perfect person to put her with. I think Tatum's got a lot of potential, and I think a lot of it's predicated on how she not only gets this character over, but how she handles these matches that she's going to be having. And I
yeah.
think Wendy's a great talent to be having matches with.
I would like to personally apologize to Wendy. When she came out that episode, I kind of wrote this off because I was not with the spooky shit. I thought it was really weird. I thought it was dumb, all that sort of stuff. If you're gonna link with Tatum Paxley, I am on fucking board. I like Tatum a lot. So I would like to see how further this goes. Like I am interested. I am open. Like the door was shut before. I'm open to being impressed and seeing how far this goes and whatever the hell y'all two weirdos do to each other or with each other. Sorry. Um,
They need to have a freak off, like the match
yeah, absolutely.
freak off. Yeah.
Why not? Um, Tatum backstage is playing with the dog. Kalani comes by. He's like, "Oh, you fixed it. That's nice."
Okay, I know y'all saw this segment. Did Kalani not talk like she was reading off a fucking video game script, like word for fucking word? She didn't.
Yeah,
Didn't try and change her inflections. She didn't try to
it
put no
it
stank. Nothing.
it was very much line read. Like you're gonna walk up to her and say this.
You know how Ariana Grace sounds like she sounds like that, right? But it sounds like it's a put on. She's putting that character on.
Yeah,
Kalani actually sounds like a robot, and I think that Sean, wake the fuck up before it's fucking too late. Do not send her out there like this. She needs a lot of work. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't think she needs that title right now. I think Lola needs that title. I'm gonna be real with you.
I she was not my pick to win it,
She was not.
so I'm not gonna disagree. I do not think she should have won that title. It should have either been Sol Ruka and her. If they were gonna go with the heel, I would have went with Fallon Henley.
It is. They are doing a disservice to her. I think of all the women, she's the most talented with the least upside because she can't cut promos effectively. She just sounds too
She
nice.
can't connect. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
feel any when she's on screen. Like I don't like I'm not bored, I'm not excited, I'm not I know it's she's just there.
Mhm.
She kind of has a little bit I don't know if this is gonna sound bad, but she kind of reminds me a little bit of like anytime Ricochet would have to talk because it's just like I don't again I'm like you don't seem like a like I know you're a real person, but you don't seem like a real person. I don't know that
You
people talk this way.
you not fucking with his promos, homeboy?
Come on, home bye. But
Oh my
but
God,
like
no, never.
Kalani says, that's a nice doll, but we don't play with dolls here, young lady. See you later. I'm just like,
It's like,
Yeah,
what the
right.
fucking after school special shit is this?
Or
What like
like,
what?
aren't we a little too old to be playing with dolls? And I was just like, you no.
it's so weird. I think again to have a baby face that is not dynamic at all in a company where you have Trick Williams is kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
pit her next to Trick Williams.
Trick
And
Trick 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 Williams eclipsing both hazes, bruh.
and you know I hate the NIL athlete, the D1 shot putter shit, but it's like it is characterizations like that that give them really a bad name. And I think it's characterizations like what's the good Carmen Petrovic and a lot of those other people that kind of changed that perception. Like they're actually doing very, very well with their characters. And I think that Kalani needs
Hmm.
to look more to that and not whatever the fuck they're telling her. Because
Yeah, I
it also reminds me of Tiffany Stratton doing promos. Tiffany laid a fucking egg on SmackDown. You know what I'm saying? And I thought she did terribly, but I think she suffers from the same problem as Kalani does, is that she and I can't say this for a lot of the other people. Like I know that Tiffany wants to be good. Okay. I know she wants to be great, but you got to stop looking at the promos and that aspect of it as just a part of the job and make it a part of what makes you good. Because if those don't congeal, you're not going to get very far, in my opinion.
I agree. And I think the common denominator here is that they're both gymnasts.
Hmm.
Gymnasts don't talk.
That is true.
But yeah, they need to work on that. Funny thing about this promo or like this segment here is Tatum Paxley putting the white doll down and pulling out with the biracial Barbie doll.
Bruh. I said, is that Chloe Bailey? Little boy?
Barbie. The Chloe Bailey carnival doll, bro. That'd be crazy. Lola Vice defeats JC Jane here. JC, the what is it? I can't really call them the vets because fucking Jasmine Nix is there, and I love that Lola pointed that out. Um, but yeah, Lola Vice kind of beats her ass, same way as like the Izzy David Tatum Paxley match. All I remember is just JC eating the fucking pin and then them beating the shit out of Lola.
It was a short match, and
Yeah.
I shudder to think that if something went long, and it was probably that 6 man, um, that made everything go short on the show. I think something definitely,
Mhm.
or either the Roxanne promo, one of those went very long and caused everything to kind of get ate up on the show. But this was definitely one of them. Um, it seems that Lola. I asked this question last week on the show when you were on there, Cyrus. I was like, is Lola going to be on that Fallon Henley tier? And she is. I'm not mad at that. I think that
No, no,
again,
I think it's fine.
as a baby face, she needs to get those wins and climb back up. And she hit the mark, the 2K. You ain't even I ain't tapped though. Hit the mark. Okay, so yeah.
um Lola Vice seems she's now going to be linked up with Sol Ruka and Carmen Petrovic, who she had beef with like 2 months
Bro,
ago.
I'm like, bro, are y'all gonna talk about that? Because she was whooping your monkey ass like 3 months.
I probably gotta watch like the WWE digital exclusive where they like talked backstage as like a unit and they started like dancing and shit and seeing if like it was like mentioned because I do think it is weird that they are linking up. And I also think it's weird that Ariana Grace is not involved in this, but I can see why she was like bowed out.
I wonder what they're gonna do with her. I think a character like her is someone that definitely needs to be there, if only to annoy people. I think like that's definitely
Yeah.
something that I'm looking forward to having. But maybe Gigi's almost back, and maybe that's why they took her out.
Mhm. I did you see her tweet where she goes, "That's all." Ariana Grace's was like, "That's just all I wanted from you," and it's just like a tweet of like
Is he with
Gigi
good
just
hair?
like glammed.
Yeah, so it's all they wanted from the start.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. We got the OC defeating OTM. The match was cool. Um,
It's so weird that they got their win back this week. Like
I
I'm like,
don't understand that. Like, y'all did it's running into the AEW thing, but they're doing it a lot weirdly, where it's just like, okay, you have Michin and Jada have like a series of matches. Then you
yeah,
have the street fight. Then you have the dudes get involved. get the win, then you do the mixed tag, they get their win back. Are we gonna go back to a match with like a stipulation with all three? Because
It's
I would actually not want that.
to me it's weird because like when is this going to end and how does this
Yeah,
escalate if that's the
it,
case? Like
it's very much giving Vortex.
yeah, like Jada should be ready to move on to something else. And if OTM isn't ready to be tag team champions, who to tag? Oh, Axiom and them. If they're not ready, then I don't know what to call it. I mean, there's another tag team on the show now. You know what I mean? Asante and Cedric. We haven't even got to them, but it's like
Mhm.
I they have a way better upside than OTM. If they're gonna just become Jada's valets, that's cool with me too. But just keep it real.
Yeah, just keep in mind. Yeah, I don't know where that goes any further. I'm very confused about the whole thing. And then to end the show off, our main event, we have Obafemi versus Duke Hudson.
So much better than I thought it was gonna be. I wasn't excited about
Yes.
this coming in. Um, I still think Oba does get blown up a little too fast. And I think going in being in there with somebody like Duke who has like fuck apparently stamina god, like an endurance god, he was going crazy. But again, like Oba is putting together some really great performances. I'm gonna be real. I don't see how you keep that NXT title off of him very long. If that's what's gonna be like, maybe Trick gets it back and then you do the Oba feud, but it's like it's going to be very tough to keep him away from the title, just like it's going to be very tough for him to stay a heel for very long. He's already tweener ish now. He's not really healing anymore. So I'm wondering how long they'll have this title on him because to me it doesn't seem like it's like a reign more than just like a hold this until we're ready for you type reign.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know if you keep this title off him long. And yeah, he's very much like tweener. Like the most heel thing that he does is it's like, I'm better than you.
Yeah,
And
which
that's like pretty much it.
yeah everybody does that shit. But again, like
Yeah.
whoever thought years ago that NXT would have two big dudes in the main event? You know what I'm saying? Like that in itself is amazing. The chase shoot element to this is interesting to me though because is this starting to feel like they need to either call them up or break them up? Like, what do you guys think?
A call up is definitely imminent. I don't like I think I said it earlier. Like I don't think if they're gonna get called up, like it just needs to be the iteration of the trio.
Mm-hmm. Without
Uh
what's her name?
Ridge and Riley.
Okay, okay, I get it. Oh, they'll take Theo with them. Okay, yeah,
Yeah. I Riley, I heard he good.
I ain't seen it.
I Yeah, I think he's like, he was good on like NXT UK, but like I think he's just largely like unimpressive. Um, because like we still have Axiom and then Nathan Frazier around. We have Wesley around. Like I don't think he really like excels at like anything or really does anything. Like he's not even having matches anymore. Like I
Yeah,
think his last match was like with Ridge.
I think for Chase U to work on the main roster, it has to be more streamlined because it's already such like an oddball gimmick anyway, and like it's something that could easily not translate to like the main roster.
yeah,
But if it does, it would translate based on like the chemistry between like the three of them. Like no
Yeah.
Ridge, it would have to be that like kind of core unit.
I think a problem that it kind of runs into, even though it is, I guess it's like different. Like I do find some like similarities between them and Alpha Academy,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
just because like it's academic based. That's kind of it, not like what they study. Doesn't seem like they study fucking much at Chase U. But yeah, that's where I think like unless they come in and then former, like Otis and them, unless they enroll into Chase U, I
oh
think that gimmick does have to change a little bit.
yeah. I
That
just
actually be kind of cool, yeah.
they've been there almost 3 years. I think September will be the third year
Hmm.
them being there. And that in this character, I think that you're not having them win any titles.
Yeah.
Andre is not winning the NXT title. He's not winning the US title. He's not winning anything. I think it's time for them to go. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think it's time for them to go. I think that they've done every single storyline that you could think of with these people. They have interacted. When you think about it, they've interacted with every single character on NXT in the
Yeah.
past.
You know, Duke got his like rare title match or like singles title match here, and then Thea Hale is going to be wrestling Roxanne. Like, if these are like grand goodbyes, like I am cool with that. And then yeah, I and in their stead, I think that could easily take their place now that I think these guys are getting a lot of personality now is the North Quarter Catch Crew.
Mhm.
I think that little segment that had the witness, Ren Sinclair pull up, I thought that segment was really funny. But even the like the thing prior where he like pulls up on Tony D'Angelo and he's just like, "Hey man, witness saw man." I
I,
I think this is funny,
I
man.
think what's been missing with Charlie Dempsey is that we didn't get to see if he had that same comedic timing as his dad. Like Regal's a funny nigga, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
you can only think that his son would be as funny as he was, but they just kept having him be like this super serious shooter character, which like didn't do him any favors. If he's allowed to let loose a little bit, I think it's gonna work. And I think the Ren Sinclair shit made me fucking lose it. I mean, hell, Charlie almost corpsed during that shit because she's fucking ridiculous. And you don't and again, I can't hate NXT. As middling as these matches were, and as roughly okay as the show was this week, it had some really bright moments. And that was definitely one of them.
Like I found the show to be like extremely, I don't know if they like planned on it to be, but like I thought the show was like unintentionally like really fucking funny. And even though the in-ring wasn't there, I like had good times and I laughed a lot. And that is gonna go way like a longer way than this hour-long shit fest that happened on AEW. Like, what is it? That clip of Ren Sinclair doing the stupid pose with the fucking, what is it? I guess Gen Z stupid face. Like, I thought that shit was fucking hilarious. Like, she's bringing a lot of personality to that thing, which I thought was like really, really cool. Um, I can't wait to see more of it flourish. Uh, any thoughts on NXT or AEW before we close on out?
They got a long AEW got a long road to all out. I do not think that the decisions that they made here are going to be very good or lasting in terms of what they're doing. NXT, I know that the rating was pretty rough this week. Not gonna lie, very rough this week due to a lot of factors. But again, they're loading up on the men's division, and I think that it's what they need to do. The women look good, but let's get these guys rolling. It looks like they're doing that now.
Don?
Yeah, I mean, even when NXT has off weeks or down weeks or kind of flat weeks, it does always feel like they're trying to build to something in the future. And this is a really solid show. Like it had a lot of bright little moments, but so much happened with so many different people in those 2 hours versus 2 hours AEW with like what, five, six people, essentially like central figures, and there's no real growth. It's not really building anything. It's the contrast cannot be stark.
um Something that I realized during the show is that the CW thing is very imminent.
Oh
Like it's
yeah,
like 3 months now.
yeah. October, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know the exact date, but like that's October. Like that's very, very soon. Like it feels like yesterday when we heard that news, you know.
Yeah.
But it also feels as though to me that NXT is getting ready for that move. With just think of the puzzle pieces they're putting together right now on that show to be top names: Stephanie, Julia, Roxy, Trick, Ethan. That could probably be your night one match. All of the things that are around it, that are surrounding it, all make sense. I honestly think, again, that could be your fucking your main event. There is Trick versus Ego, and then Trick gets the title back.
Mhm. Um, and then what is it? Great American Bash is
And
oh, okay.
it's in 2 weeks.
Ooh, I was about to say I hope we had to do predictions. But yeah, yeah, then we have Great American Bash to look forward to. So that is it from us. You could subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/, the A Show RNC. You can follow the network at the A Show RNC on Twitter. You can follow Justin at OG Johnny5. You can follow Dom at Almost Dom. You can follow me, Cyrus, at Cyrus on TWR. Everything is in the show notes, all our other socials, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that sort of jazz is in the show notes. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.